So the clock is over there, so you see the 10 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, good morning, everyone. It's good to see some familiar faces. Yeah, I flew in from Dubai last night. Was expecting some Dutch flavors, but I find myself in Arabian souk. Yeah. Before I start, a couple of words about myself. My name is Sandeep, within supply chain industry since last 20 years. 15 years with L'Oreal, LVMH, and Adidas, where I had the opportunity to lead regional and global S&OP. And then 4 years ago, I decided to cross to the dark side of supply chain, which is software. 2 years in Blue Yonder, and now 2 years in Slimstock, where also I'm an ex-happy customer. If you have attended a couple of events from SCM, the last couple of events, you must have heard Martin stress a lot on scenario planning and how it is an integral part of S&OP. And today, this is what we wanted to discuss with you. But before I go into scenario planning, I wanted to know if there are any Formula One fans in the audience. Are there any Formula One fans? Are you pre-Netflix or post-Netflix? Yeah, so the question is very simple. Do you see any similarities between the way F1 is run and S&OP? Yeah? Okay, well, I've been following Formula One since almost 10 years now, and at that time I was also doing my weekly, monthly S&OP meetings, and I could not help but notice the similarities. And I'll try to list a few here. The first one is governance and RACI. So it's not racing, it's RACI. The governance is very clearly defined in an F1 organization. You cannot imagine a F1 race weekend without Christian Horner, or Toto Wolff, or Günther Steiner, who is the fan favorite. They are all there. But not only that, you have clear responsibility and accountability of trackside teams, factory teams. Then you have engineers, mechanics, strategy principals, the pit stop crew. The responsibilities are clearly defined. Then you have strategic and tactical planning. In the middle of the season, the engineering and technical teams, they are looking at the next season. They are not bothered about the updates that will be brought in the current season. And if you don't do your strategic planning right, your season goes away. Example, what happened to Mercedes this year, right? Next one is tactical planning. Now, tactical planning is equally important. We need to understand what the next 3 race tracks are like, what wing level we need to carry, what downforce we need to carry, how do we have to manage our floors. So this is where tactical planning comes in. The next one is cross-functional collaboration, right? So you have pit stops that last only 2 seconds. For me, it is poetry in motion when I see Red Bull or now McLaren, they manage their pit stops, because a couple of tenths of seconds can make you lose a race, right? So cross-functional collaboration is very important in F1. Data-driven analytics and decision-making. No decision is made, unlike S&OP, no decision is made in F1 with finger in the air, right, or guesstimates. It's all insights that are technology-driven, that are data-driven. And if you have seen the AWS commercial on F1, it is 1 million data points per second that they have to process, right? And last but not the least, these 4 will not be of any use if we don't do scenario planning. And scenario planning is not only predicting what my pit stop strategy will be, it will also be predicting what are the actions that I have to take and what will be the outcome of those actions. Any race without scenario planning is incomplete. And that's why sometimes when you hear the drivers with their race engineers, plan A, plan B, plan C, they are nothing but scenarios, because they, on the basis of data-driven insights, tire degradation, track temperature, ambient temperature, weather, wind, competition insights, what other competitors are doing on the track, they basically manipulate their scenarios. So this is nothing but S&OP in action. If F1 can do it every single week in such an intense competitive environment, the companies can do it if they approach it also with the foundations that you see here. Governance, which means the C-suite should be leading the executive S&OP, strategic and tactical planning with a clear focus on what is important and not just focus on operational horizon, cross-functional collaboration between sales, marketing, finance, supply chain, data-driven insights, and of course, scenario planning, which I'm going to speak in the next, where are my minutes? I don't see them anymore. Okay. So what is S&OP? A lot of literature is there on S&OP, so I took the least risky way, Gartner. So what Gartner says about S&OP is it's a 4-step process. Identify the focal question. What is the opportunity I'm trying to explore? Constraint I'm trying to manage, risk I'm trying to mitigate. And then what are the driving forces, the internal and external factors that are going to impact my business or the environment that I operate in? Focal question, driving forces, and then I have to map those driving forces on the axis of uncertainty. And once I've done that, I'll get 4 quadrants, 4 scenarios, and I can communicate implications in my pre-S&OP. Now, all this looks theoretical, so I thought, what should I do to make it a little bit more concrete? So I'm going to share with you a real-life example of what's happening now. It is being played out in India. So a very big consumer electronic retailer decided to open its retail stores in India. 6 months ago, they were basically working on a base scenario of X% growth and an accelerated growth of 25%, 45%. So these were their scenarios, right? With implications on what would be the demand if my growth rate is 25%, what would be the supply response to it, my capacity constraints internally for my warehousing and for my partners, my production constraints in Taiwan and in China. So they were basically playing along the axis of booming economy. 3 months ago, so I'll just go through the scenarios. 3 months ago, there were news in the media that the regulations in India are going to change, and there will be higher taxes and duties on imported laptops and smartphones. So now, what happened was the Indian consumer, and these costs, they were passed on to the consumer. Indian consumers started going to Dubai, to Thailand, to Singapore to buy smartphones and laptops, so which means the demand in those countries went up, right? So this is the real life scenario of what's happening now for some of the companies who are in the consumer electronics, especially laptops and smartphones, where 6 months ago, they were looking at it as a booming economy, accelerated growth, and all of a sudden, change in regulations, and they are now facing themselves with a slow growth, not only slow growth, but also increased demand in other markets from where Indian consumers can go and buy products. So this is where scenario planning helps. When you have scenario planning as a fundamental pillar of your S&OP, it can help you not always predict with 100% certainty, but also it can help you predict future state scenarios and adapt to them. Now, how can we classify these scenarios? They can be growth and opportunities. So a lot of text here, I'll simplify it. Growth and opportunities, they can come either in the form of customer and market, products and categories, capacity, internal and external, and the legal geopolitical landscape. So when we talk about markets and customers, you have a new customer segment. You can enter a new market, new doors. You can launch new products, new categories, new brands. Then you can also have the possibility that capacity freed up on a production line. You're opening up a new warehouse, which helps you in your go-to-market strategy. The same can be on the constraints, exiting a market, closing doors. In one of my previous companies, we had annual store renovation. So the store renovation plan that this store will be under renovation for 6 weeks was integrated into the S&OP. That for those 6 weeks, freeze the demand for those stores. And if, and we were getting the real-time, monthly updates from our visual merchandising team, if the store is going to open on the planned date or not. So that was integrated, and this is where we had this scenario of renovation in the doors. And then, of course, the constraints and growth opportunities are one, and on the other side, you have the risks. And the risks can be geopolitical, macroeconomic headwinds. Everybody's talking about inflation and recession, and it can also be your standard pestle analysis that you can include in your scenario planning. I'll end with this one. Now, why scenario planning is important? and why we should have it as an integral part of our S&OP. The first one is, well, in Spanish they say la vida es loca. I think la vida es VUCA now, or maybe it's loca because it's VUCA. We have, since COVID, the supply chains are suffering from double problem of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and paranoia. So we are still recovering from the stress, but we are paranoid about where the next black swan is going to come from, right? So nothing can be predicted with 100% certainty, but having scenarios, future state scenarios, can help us adapt easily. The competition is intense. If you've seen in the apparel and sports apparel and footwear industry, Lululemon came 3-4 years ago, took the business of Nike and Adidas, right? You have On shoes, came, 2 years ago, and now they are the leading choice for a lot of sportsmen. So competition can come from anywhere. Having scenario planning allows you to basically focus on the threats that your business is exposed to from competition. The innovation is intense. Management literature is full of examples where companies did not pay any focus on innovation and they disappeared. You have Kodak that was a leader for 80 years and then disappeared in face of digital cameras. Nokia and BlackBerry were killed by smartphones, right? So innovation is very important, and innovation, your agenda of innovation gives you a handle on all the opportunities out there. Legal landscape can change from one day to another. I can give you an example of what happened in Dubai last year. The government decided to change the weekend from Friday, Saturday to Saturday, Sunday. Now just imagine if you are a grocery retailer doing forecasting multiple times a day. The consumer habits of shopping on Friday or Saturday changes from Saturday to Sunday, which means it has direct impact on your forecasting and inventory allocation, right? And last but not the least, geopolitical risks. We live with them now. Last year we saw Russia, Ukraine. This year we saw Middle East conflict. You never know where the next one is going to come from. So having a scenario planning, dedicated scenario planning as a part of your S&OP helps in mitigating those risks as well. Well, somebody wise once said that it is always difficult to predict future, but having scenario planning can basically help you mitigate all the risks that can come with future state scenarios and also capture the opportunities for the growth of your business. I hope that's it from my side. I hope I'm not late.
No, you're fine.
Good, thank you.